The Benchmade Griptilian is what some people would call a cornerstone of modern pocket knives. Mount Rushmore-esque, if you will. Designed by the legendary Mel Purdue, it has been a staple in the EDC community since 2001. But today in 2022, we have to ask, is the Griptilian still relevant? Well, I don't have a full-size one on me today, but I do have a mini version, so let's take a look at it and find out. Getting into the specs of this knife. Open, it has an overall length of 6.78 inches. The blade length is 2.91. It is made out of CPM S30V steel with a sheep's foot blade, a flat grind with a satin finish, and it weighs overall at 2.5 ounces. And I think this is a really great knife. And for size comparisons, here it is against a Wee Banter, which has also become an icon in the community. Also, we have a Knife Joy exclusive Delica 4 with a Wharncliffe blade and 20 CV. And we also have a Tactile Knife Co. Rockwall. So as you can see, all four of these knives hit a very specific size that's sub 3 inches. And I just really think it makes it a really good knife for everyday carry. It's a very utilitarian type blade. I am a huge fan of sheep's foot. I just think that and Wharncliffe are the most practical use blade shapes in my life, in my everyday carry. But that can be completely different for you, and that's okay. There's nothing right or wrong about what you prefer and what you don't prefer. Now, why do I like this knife? I like this knife. There's first reason I like this knife is because it was a gift. Knives that are gifted to me, no matter if they are super nice or a regular production knife, those knives will always stay in my collection, right? Like I'm sure most of you that collect knives, you have those knives where you're like, it's not the best knife I have, but it's a special knife, so we keep it. And so that's the case for me too. This was given to me by my in-laws in 2020 for Christmas. I had put it on my list. I've always wanted a Griptilian in this configuration with a thumb hole and a sheep's foot blade. So I asked for it and they gave it to me. It was very kind of them. So I will always have this knife. And I love using this knife. This knife is very user-friendly. I mean, just look at the shape of it. Sheep's foot is a super useful blade style for everyday utilitarian type task, from opening packages to cutting zip ties, opening mail, whatever you do on a daily or normal basis, that is a great blade shape for it. And I think thumb hole openings they're superior in my opinion to thumb studs. I said it. I know there's going to be a bunch of y'all that disagree with that, and that's totally fine. You're allowed to have your own opinion. I just think it's what I prefer over most other type of opening systems. And I know I had two knives that were thumb studs, the Rockwall and the Banter, but I think that's just because those are really well done, that the thumb studs make it easy to open because the action on them is so good. I think just another great thing about this knife is the axis lock. And I know pretty much every Benchmade that they come out with now almost has the axis lock. But this was like the first model to, I don't want to say it's the first because I'm not 100% sure on that. So you can fact check me. I don't want to say it's the first. I don't know. But it's just, it utilizes the axis lock really well to where it's actually pretty fidgety too. This one, it's a little stiff and I could probably loosen it up a little bit, but it's got really good action. It flicks really well. I got to do a little weird little flick of my wrist to get it to close. So that's pretty interesting. But the action is great. It's super easy to use, super easy to close, and the axis lock is very strong and sturdy. So that's just another great thing that it has going for it. And I know that its direct comparison and more updated version knife would be the bug out and the mini bug out respectively. And I think that's kind of what is low-key phasing the Griptilian out, is the bug out. It's not that they have stopped producing this knife. They still make it. They just don't make it, I think, they don't make it interesting like they make the Bug Out series, right? With the Bug Out, you can get different types of handle material, from fluted titanium to different types of G10, and then you have, you know, the original scales on it as well. And then it also comes in different blade materials, which is something that the Griptilian, as far as I'm aware of, doesn't do. They don't offer this knife in anything other than S30V. That's the updated blade steel. I used to have a regular Griptilian that was in, I think, 154 cm, but that was back in 2013, 2014. And so S30V, you know, speaking of the blade steel, I think it's a good steel. It's not, it's not 20 CV or M390. It's none of those. And I don't think it tries to be that. I mean, like, I'm not a blade steel expert. I never will claim to be that. But I think S30V is very usable. It's user-friendly. You can sharpen it. You can use it. It's decently tough. It's a very good blade steel. So I think that in that department, yes, it does not compare very well to the Bug Out, but I think it does. It is what it is. This knife is what it is. That's where we're going to land with it. This knife is good. This knife is not bad. This knife cuts. It is comfortable to hold. It is comfortable to use. If it wasn't, then they wouldn't have been making it for over 20 years, and it wouldn't have been such a popular knife for 20 years. So the only thing that I would do to this knife to change it up would be to put a deep carry pocket clip on it. It comes with the standard Benchmade pocket clip, and you can get either aftermarket deep carry ones, or I think even now you can get a deep carry clip from Benchmade. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I feel like I've seen that somewhere. So that would be the only thing that I would do to it. But I wear black jeans when I wear jeans, so it blends in really well. So I'm not really worried about this extra part right here sticking out, that much sticking out, because I'm wearing black jeans and you can't really notice it. I really love this knife. I think it's good. I think it's worth buying. If you can get one, I would say get one. They're not super expensive. They're not going to break your bank. I think I saw this one for like $115 somewhere recently. It might have been Blade HQ. I probably am wrong on that, but it should be in stock in Blade HQ at the time of this video being recorded. I can link that down below. I'll link everywhere I can find this thing that it is in stock. I highly recommend buying it. I highly recommend working this into your EDC rotation. I think it's a good knife. And one last size comparison, just for the sake of doing it, we'll compare it to a Spyderco Paramilitary 2. So again, sub 3 inches, but where I work, I feel much more comfortable pulling this knife out than I do this knife out. Not that this PM2 is wrong and bad. It just doesn't freak as many people out. Now the action on this one is better, and the steel is better, and the handle's better, but it's also just it's a different knife, and that's okay. It's designed for a different purpose. This knife will not scare the shit out of anyone. It shouldn't scare the shit out of anyone. It really just shouldn't. So, yeah, you should buy it. You should buy this knife. It is not, again, not expensive. And I'm going to stop rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. If you are indifferent, don't do anything. But if you enjoy this content, make sure you hit the subscribe button. And until the next video, we'll see you.